Today you will be taking notes on writing and graphing inequalities. Here's your notes page. You're going to be writing everything that I write on my paper, just like I do on yours. So we're learning about inequalities, and inequalities is a mathematical statement that compares expressions. It contains the symbols less than, greater than, less than or equal to, greater than or equal to. And you've seen these symbols before. And I've talked to you, I believe, about these symbols that you need to know their names, okay? So this first one here is the less than symbol, okay? And words that would describe that symbol would be less than or fewer than. Here is the greater than symbol, and some words that would describe that symbol would be greater than or more than. This symbol is greater than or equal to, and some words that describe that symbol would be greater than or equal to, at least, no less than. And less than or equal to is this symbol, less than or equal to, at most, or no more than. Let's take a look at writing inequalities. When you are writing inequalities, you're going to have a variable, and you're going to have numbers, and sometimes you'll have an extra operation in there. Okay, whenever I write inequalities, I try to get my variable always on the left, and we'll talk more about that later. When you're reading these sentences, we're going to write an inequality based on these words, and we're going to look for key words from the chart up above that will help us write our inequality. Some of them are very easy, some of them are a little bit tricky. So the first one says, more than 22 students earned an A on their quiz. Okay, so I'm going to have a variable, which in this case I tend to use, it depends on the situation, but I like an X, okay? And we have a variable, and we have the number 22. So the key word here is more than. More than 22 students earn an A on their quiz. So more than, another word for more than would be greater than. So here's the words more than. So this number has to be greater than 22. Okay? So here we have X is greater than 22 would be the inequality for that. Okay, now we have less than 122 parents attended the meeting. So we have a variable, we have 122, and it's less than 122 parents. So this variable has to be less than 122. Okay, as long as you have your variable on the left, these symbols with the phrases below them here, they should match up, okay? So you want to just take a look at those things. Cassidy earned no more than $64 at $8 per hour. Okay, so this is actually like not just an inequality with a variable and a number. This is going to have an operation. So it's $8 per hour, but you don't know how many hours. When you don't know a number, you use your variable. So we have, I'm going to use 8H for hours. And then we have 64. So Cassidy earned no more than $64 an hour. So this is no more than $64 an hour. So if you're thinking about no more than, this number has to be less than or equal to. And if you look here, there's the no more than, okay? 8 times whatever has to be less than or equal to, because no more than, but it could be 64. Okay, and all you're doing is writing these inequalities. You're not doing anything else with them just yet. A checking account decreased by $54 is no more than $620. So I don't know how much money was in the account to begin with, so I'm going to use my variable, but I know that it decreased by $54. okay? And it is no more than 620. So we have no more than 620. That means that this right here can't be any more than the 620. So it must be less than or equal to. And if you look again, we have the no more than again right here. And that's the symbol, less than or equal to. Okay, a 200-meter sprint time of 56 seconds was at least twice as long as the first place winner's time. Okay, there's extra numbers in here that we don't need. This 200 meter, that's just the name of the event, so ignore that. That's not part of your inequality. Okay, a sprint time of 56 seconds was at least twice as long as the first place winner's time. So we have 56 seconds, okay, and then twice as long as the first place winner. Well, we don't know the first place winner, but we know it was twice as long as that. So we're going to go with a 2, and I'm going to go with F, 2 times F. Twice as long as the first place winner, and it's at least 56 seconds. Okay, this number is at least 56 seconds. So it could be more than, or it could be equal to. That would be the inequality there. Number 6, a number, we don't know the number, so I'm going to use n, increased by 7 is at least 45. Okay, so this number has to be at least 45. Could it be exactly 45? Yes, but it has to be either 45 or greater than or equal to. And if you look at the keywords here, at least, you'll find it here, and I honestly think this is something that you just need to study for. Okay, at least again, right there, and that would be that same symbol. No more than is here. Okay, you've got to. This is something you actually have to study in math. I know we don't always study in math. We kind of just practice, and that's how we learn it. But these phrases, you might be better off studying and practicing and studying and practicing. Okay, so now we are going to go on to the next section of this, which is checking solutions. And it says, for the given values, state whether each inequality is true or false. So all you're doing is you're plugging in your x, and you're going to say, does this work or doesn't it? So for number 7, you have 18 over x is less than 9 if x equals 2. So let's plug in 18 over x is less than 9. X equals 2, so I plugged in 2 for x. Now 18 over 2, 18 divided by 2 is 9. Is 9 less than 9? No, so this would be false. Next one. I have x over 5 is greater than or equal to 3 if x equals 5. So we have 5 over 5 is greater than or equal to 3. Well, 5 divided by 5 is 1. Is 1 greater than or equal to 3? That would be false again. That is not true. 1 is less than or equal to 3, but not greater than or equal to. Number 9, we have 9k is greater than or equal to, it says 6k is greater than or equal to 42. So we are going to plug in 7 for k, so 6 times 7 is greater than or equal to 42. Well, 6 times 7 is 42. Is 42 greater than or equal to 42? That is true. It is equal to, so that works. And number 10, we have negative 3x plus 9 is less than 18. So for this one, we're plugging in x equals 9, so negative 3 times 9 plus 9 is less than 18. Okay, following your order of operations, negative 3 times 9 is negative 27, plus 19 is less than 18. Negative 27 plus 19 You have different signs. Subtract, take sign of larger number. That would be a negative number. Right there you could say that's definitely true because it's negative. It's less than 18. I'm going to continue to figure that out. And if I do that mentally, 27 minus 20 would be 7. So one more would be 8 is less than 18. And that would be true. And there you have that. Moving on to our next part. We are going to start graphing inequalities. And there's a couple of things that will help you when you're graphing inequalities. Number one, if you're going from an inequality to graphing, as long as your variable is on your left side, which as you could see in all of the examples from 11 through 16, I have the variable on the left side, but sometimes it won't be given that way. As long as your variable is on the left side, your arrow and your inequality symbol should face the same way. I'll show you that in a second. Okay, we have a less than symbol is an open circle. A greater than symbol is an open circle. A less than or equal to symbol is a closed circle, and a greater than or equal to symbol is a closed circle. And I'm going to explain that a little bit more if that doesn't make sense right now. Okay, so we are graphing on our number line. A is less than 6. Now, let me just pause for 1 minute. You have done some graphing on number lines a lot in Study Island where you had to plot the points, right? So if x was to equal 3, you would just plot on 3, okay? If x equaled 3. Does that make sense? Okay, so now let's go back to graphing. And we are going to graph A is greater than 6. I'm sorry, less than 6. So if you look, the less than is in an open circle. And the reason why that's an open circle is because it does not include 6, but it's everything that's greater than 6. So 6.01 would be included in that because that's greater than 6. So you use the open circle. And I like to really squiggle this line and make it very obvious. Okay, don't just use your pencil because if you just go over it with one line, it won't be dark enough. Okay, and you kind of do like a squiggle on here, pretty dark. And I'm going to shade in this arrow to show that I'm continuing this all the way on and on in the right direction, which is in greater than 6 direction. And that's all you have to do to graph the inequality. Number 12, we have t is greater than or equal to negative 2. So in this case, negative 2 is included, so that would be a closed circle. And it's everything to the right here that's greater than negative 2. All of these numbers that I'm coloring in right now are greater than negative 2. Then you're going to make your arrow. This is pretty difficult on this program for me, sorry. Okay, on number 13, we have D is less than or equal to 3. So is 3 included? Yes, because it's less than or equal to. So that's going to be a closed circle on 3, and everything less than or equal to 3, so it's everything 2, 1, those are less than 3, so it would go this way. Okay, now I mentioned briefly before, okay, as long as your variable is on the left side of your inequality, like it is in these 3 problems, if you notice, my inequality symbol is pointing this way, and so is my arrow. My inequality symbol is pointing this way, and so is my arrow. Oh, I messed up on number 11. Sorry about that. Let me go back to number 11. Hopefully you caught that. Good thing I looked back at it. A is less than 6. So when we graph that one, it still is an open circle on 6, but it's everything less than 6. So that's part of the reason why I like my variable there, so when you look it over, you can see that it's pointing in the right direction. So my great inequality symbol is facing that way, and now so is my number line arrow is facing that way. That was a good check there that I just did. Okay, and that's something you could always check on, as long as your variable is on the left side. Number 14, b is greater than or equal to 10. So that would be a closed circle on 10, and it's always on the number that's in your inequality. And it's everything that is greater than or equal to 10. So we're going to go the numbers that are greater than or equal to 10. And then it's also good, and I probably should have done this earlier, check your numbers. Is this number greater than 10? Yes. Okay, just making sure. Also, my inequality symbol is facing that way. My arrow is pointing that way. Number 15, x is greater than or equal to negative 7. So that would be a closed circle on negative 7. And it's greater than or equal to, so these are the numbers that are greater than or equal to. So we are going to go to the right here, and our arrow goes this way. And you do need to color in your arrow, showing that it continues on and on. When you get into Algebra 1 and doing a little more Algebra 1, and even next year in 8th grade, you're going to be graphing two inequalities. So sometimes the arrows don't go in one direction, so you have to be graphing these inequalities this way. And you know, I'm usually right about these things. On number 16, x is greater than 2, so that would be an open circle on 2, because it doesn't include 2, it's just greater than 2. And 3 and 4, those are numbers that are greater than 2, so I'm going to go to the right here. Okay, and make my arrow and shade that in, showing that it's going to continue on and on in the right direction, all the numbers that are greater than 2. So double checking these, a is less than 6, that is correct. T is greater than or equal to negative 2. Those numbers are greater than or equal to, okay. Less than or equal to, closed circle, less than 3 to the left. Greater than or equal to 10, that's a closed circle, and these numbers are greater than. X is greater than or equal to, closed circle, negative 7, these numbers are greater than negative 7. And x is greater than 2, open circle, numbers greater than 2. And that's graphing the inequalities. And this last part, you are going to be writing an inequality from the graph. You will always have a variable, so what I could do is I could put an x for every single one of these, and this is, I think, pretty simple, okay? Then what number will you get for number 17? Number 17, well, if you look here, this would be 10, okay? This is negative 2. So far you got 2/3 of your inequality right, okay? This one would be negative 7. This one would be 6, this one would be 2, and here we have negative 38. Okay, now we have to determine the symbol. That's the last part. So far, I have my variable, I have my number. Those were nice and easy. Now we have to determine the symbol, and if you look above at your chart, I don't have my chart, but again, this is something you should study. My chart is not on this page, but you have it right in front of you. Does this, on number 17, does that include 10? It doesn't include 10, so it's not going to be the less than or equal to, greater than or equal to symbol. It's got to either be less than or greater than. Well, if you look at the numbers that are shaded here, these are all greater than 10, so you plug in the greater than symbol. And if you look, your inequality symbol is facing this way, and so is your arrow on your number line. On number 2, it is a closed circle, so it includes negative 2, so it has the equal to symbol as well, and it's everything less than negative 2, so it's less than or equal to negative 2. Number 19, It has an open circle, so it does not include -7, and it's all the numbers that are less than -7. Number 20, it includes 6, so it is an equal to symbol, as well as all the numbers that are greater than or equal to 6. 21 is a closed circle, so it does include 2, and it's shaded to the left there, so it's all the numbers that are less than or equal to. Now, again, that works if less than left. Okay, that's another way you could remember that. However, that only works when your variable is on the left. Okay, and I always put my variable on the left. Even when I get an inequality that is not on the left, I will rewrite it so that the variable is on the left. Number 22 is not including 38, so it's going to be a greater than or less than symbol only. And these numbers are all greater than -38, so that would be my inequality. And that's all you have to do. Now, I just want to show you one more thing that is not on these notes, just in case you're ever given an inequality that looks like this. 6 is greater than x. Like I said, I always want my variable on the left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read this inequality backwards. And I'm going to read that as x is less than 6. Okay, if you read it backwards, rewrite it with your variable on the left, now that would be your inequality. Now if I had to go ahead and graph that, here's my 6, and I'm not going to write this whole number line out, but it would be an open circle on 6 and everything to the left. So just so you can see that, because that will happen where your variable is not on your left, and I always rewrite it so that it is. Okay, if you have any questions, please write them down, and have a good night.